Hello, everyone. This is Raza von Werder from the University of Mother God Church, trying to polish up and kind of get over the history of my childhood and early youth from the first memory up in the highlights, some of the highlights, some of the highlights, up until age 16. And I want to get that part over with because there's so many other things I want to talk about. I'll have to, by the time I get done with this project, I think it'll be thousands of videos, not 1,000, 2 or 3 thousand videos. So I'm up to over, I've made about over 100 now in the last month. In 1 month I made 100. So in a year I could make it, well, 1,200. All right. So I'm going to get into the sex stuff now. Okay, sex stuff. My early dating when I was 15, going on 16, my girlfriend and I, we used to call up my neighbor. I loved her. Oh, this Greek girl. She was a little bit heavy, big boobs, and I'm drinking beer. I'm not against drinking. Salud. Right now I'm on like about my 10th video today. I'm getting a little tired, so I need a boost. So the beer will boost me up a little, maybe. um, so, so she and I, we used to. That was her idea. She was a little older than me, 1 or 2 years maybe older than me. I was 15, maybe she was 16. So she got the number at the barracks. She probably met a soldier somewhere, and he gave her the number at the barracks, so she had the number, and she didn't continue going out with this guy. But so the two of us, we used to call up the barracks. And we said, "Is Joe there? What's his last name? We don't know. He didn't tell us." So I told you this already, but I'll tell you again. Is Joe here? No, Joe isn't here. There's no Joe here. Okay, is Peter there? What's his last name? We don't know. He didn't tell us. Is Peter here? No, no Peter. All right, is John there? Okay. What's his last name? We don't know. Okay, John! Okay, John is here. John is here. So he comes to the phone. So we chit-chat, blah, blah, blah. You have a friend, John? These two nice girls. We want to meet you guys, go out and everything. So, yeah, he had a friend. So they would meet us somewhere. And I remember one time when they showed up, so she had designated one guy, and I had another guy, and so we were in the car, and we went to some lover's lane somewhere, and she was in the front making out. He was a hottie, and mine was ugly. So I'm making out with the ugly one. So after a while, I was plotting, I want to get my hands on the handsome one. So after 15 minutes of making out, I go, okay, time to switch. The guys didn't care. They didn't care because they each got to have 2 different girls to make out with. But my girlfriend, of course, she cared. No, no. I go, yeah, we got to switch. We got to, I guess I had a strong will because she did it. So she went to the back. I climbed to the front. I made out with a handsome hottie. So that was one of the tricks we played. We were bad. We were bad. I was bad to do that. Maybe I was smart. I don't know. So what else? Peter. I was in love with this young man named Peter. I was in love with somebody every other weekend, but that's an exaggeration. But anyway, when I was 13, I fell in love with this guy named Peter. My girlfriend brought him around. Hold on, excuse me a second. Another round. Boy, that feels good. I got hot lights on me, you know. I'm not like other people. I do photography lights. I'm a video producer. So my lights are a little bit better than the average. They're not perfect right now. I mean, I'm not making some MGM production, but I have special photo lights on me with silver plates, you know, those, whatever you call them, you know, and they're beaming on me. I know it's not a lot of light. I don't want to be lit up too much. You'll see all my flaws. I started out, when I first started out, if you look at the videos, when I first started out, the lights were not as soft and flattering. And I was upset because the last time I made YouTube videos, I looked good. And now I looked old and ugly. So I said, oh, God, help me. What do I do? And God reminded me, St. Martini, St. Martin Luther King Jr., he reminded me, you have photo lights up there in your spare room. Go get them. So I got them and I put them up. And I said, yeah, that's right. Those photo lights are for videos. So I put those lights up. All right, so now, so Peter. I hooked up with Peter about 15 years ago. I tracked down many of my young friends in high school who are not young anymore, you know, not that young. And I found Peter, and I found many boys I was in love with. I found Myron, I found Bobby, and they were the boys I loved when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I found them, and I talked to them, and I found my old girlfriends as well. Nothing worked out as far as being friends or anything. I felt they were not as nice as the ladies were not as nice as they should have been. Didn't call me back, didn't try to be friends, so I was heartbroken, but oh well, I got over it. But anyway, Peter told me I was the first girl whose breasts he touched. Well, somebody brought him around. I don't remember who, but one of my girlfriends brought Peter around, and he had slick black, dark hair, almost black. He was Jewish, and his parents were doctors. I knew his father was a doctor, but later I learned that his mom was a doctor too. And he was handsome, and he was strongly built. He wasn't tall. He was my height. And he was extremely intelligent, and that's turned me on as much as anything. His intelligence was a turn on, and he was cultured. He played a musical instrument, and he worked with oil. He made oil paintings, and he was articulate, and I just fell in love with him. And he tried to make out with me and try to have sex with me, and I loved it. So when I was 13, we went to a party at his house, at his mansion in New Jersey, in Princeton, New Jersey. They had this beautiful mansion with columns in the front. And somehow I got away from my evil mother and took off. And at that party, he was touching my body, my boobs, while we were dancing. And Myron, another boy, he was one of the first boys I ever kissed when I was 13, Myron. And he was a drummer. And I liked him too, but he had another girlfriend, serious girlfriend. And so we had like a little party, and we were all making out. And then Peter took me by the hand and took me somewhere I didn't know where he was taking me. And he took me to a room, and there was some sort of what seemed like a metal table or something, I don't know what. He told me to get up on it, and I got up on it. And I was laying on it on my back, and he was on top of me, and I think he was going to try to do it to me or something. And all of a sudden, the whole room lit up with brilliant, bright lights. I was startled and shocked, and his father was standing there. And that was where he took me, was his father's office, where he examined patients. It was a stainless steel table where he examined his patients. And Peter was going to nail me on the stainless steel table, and his dad took issue with that. So, of course, he said something sharp and harsh to Peter, and that was the end of that, you know. And then I remember his dad and he and Peter drove me home. Then another time, Peter, we were at a friend's beautiful, beautiful house in I think it was Englishtown, New Jersey, and they lived in a beautiful mansion, and it was one of my best lady friends, Barbara. She was drop dead gorgeous and lived in this wonderful house. and Peter was there, and it was a Christmas party. Yeah, so it's appropriate. It's appropriate to tell you the story. And so Peter was there, and I was there, and then Peter took me into this doorway and up these winding staircases, and the stairs seemed to be getting like more and more little, and we went up, and the next thing you know, we were like 3 floors up, and I didn't realize it was the attic. So Peter had maneuvered me into the attic, and he took off his jacket. He was always well dressed, always wore a jacket, nice jacket, you know. Put the jacket down, and I was to sit on it, and he got over on me, and he started making out with me, and he tells me we were petting. I don't remember. I was about 14. And all of a sudden the door opens, and my girlfriend's older sister says, "Peter, what do you think you're doing? You bring Raza down right now. How dare you do this? How dare you?" They caught him in the act. So we had to leave. The third time he tried to nail me, he got his dad's car. It was a Nash Rambler, one of his dad's cars. They had a few, I guess. So he got him, got his Nash Rambler, and he took me out. I don't remember how I got away from my evil mom, but somehow I did. So he took me in the Nash Rambler, and I didn't know that. He put the seats down in the back where you could lie down. You could do that with a Nash Rambler, and I didn't know anything about that. And he was about to try to do something. We were kissing and touching and petting. He was about getting ready to do something to me. And all of a sudden, it's a lover's lane, you know. Lights were all over the place, and it was a police car. And Peter jumped, and I jumped, and he quickly put the seats up within a minute, got the car going, took off. That was the end of that. So that was Peter. And I was so in love with him. But he was 3 failed attempts to try to nail me, but that was sweet. I loved it. To be